All right. Well, I feel like at this point I may as well do a tour of my home because I feel like the audience has pretty much seen a lot of it. Well, maybe not really a lot of it, but you've certainly seen my office, you've seen my backyard, and now you've seen a little bit of the kitchen. But frankly, I'm just putting the camera in different spots around the house just to like do something different. I think it could be cool. I think it might make the video a little more exciting for people watching. But anyway, enough about that. Today I just want to go over four little things, and maybe they're not little, but they're definitely simple, and I'll see if I can maybe break down how I try to accomplish each one of these into my day-to-day. But four things that I did that I feel like have made my life significantly better, even with just within the last year. And you can see significant improvements very quick. So I'm gonna start with the first one, which is definitely, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and that's just eating better. So I wanna just give you a story of, well, I wanna give you a story of my relationship with cooking at home and taking my food to work. So I work in a tech company, and I think fortunately because of the company that I work in, there is some food that's provided to us, but this food is not free. This food I have to pay for, just like anyone else. So of course, if I'm getting this advantage at work, I have to pay for it. There's some other companies, like especially out on the West Coast, that do allow their employees to just get this food for free, and you can get like a ton of it. But we used to have a specific vendor at work that would give you like a specific amount of food for a certain amount of money. And then all of a sudden they brought in this new vendor and the food was weighed. So depending on how much the food weighed was how much you were going to have to pay. So I remember when this new vendor came out, well, let me skip back to my previous vendor, but the previous vendor was cool, and it was at a moment where I was starting to get a lot more into just like working out. And because of that, I remember I was eating the same food every day at work. It was like rice, a little salad, and like a piece of chicken. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna get 2 pieces of chicken because it's more protein. And that was cool. Like that healthy food was good and it made me feel good, but I wasn't able to maintain the habit because there were some days where they would come out with like spaghetti or I don't know, like a meatball sub, like some crazy stuff that you gotta think to yourself, like, man, I'm gonna eat this and I'm gonna go back to my desk and just like sit down. Like that's wild, like you're definitely gonna gain weight. So I remember when the new vendor came out, that first week when they came out, the food was like super healthy and it was awesome. And I remember thinking to myself, like, man, I could load up on protein. Like the first meal they ever had was like these like steak bites. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna just get a ton of steak bites. I also loaded up on veggies, and that was something else I thought was cool. I was like, I'm getting steak, I'm getting veggies, I'm getting all this variety, but it cost me like $18. And I did that like once, and I was like, all right, cool. And then slowly but surely, I started doing it more because it was convenient, right? I didn't have to cook at home, spend that extra time cooking or having to worry about packing my meals. It was just go to work, eat, come home, just worry about dinner, and that's it. I can even maybe on some days cook dinner, so on some days I don't even have to make anything when I came home, just eat whatever I had left over from the time before. But now let's fast forward a couple days and weeks, right? So I remember eating at work, and this was already when the new vendor came out. And it was, I don't know if it was before or after this doctor's appointment that I went to, but I guess I went to a doctor's appointment and my doctor told me that I had high cholesterol, which for me was interesting because I didn't feel like I was really eating out that much. I was eating out at work, but the food, it wasn't like I was having fast food or downing myself with like Cokes all the time. I was having, protein, some carbs, potatoes and things like this, rice and some veggies. But this one specific day, they had this like Southern style menu, and it was like cornbread with like beef, like pulled pork. And I remember just like picking up the pulled pork, and there's all this oil that fell. It was disgusting, and I'm like, you know what? Like I really should not be eating this. And especially paired with my high cholesterol, I was like, I need to change this. And it was 130. I forgot the unit. I forget the unit that cholesterol's in, but it was 130. So the reference value was 100. I was at 130, and I told my fiance, and she's like, we definitely got to get you on track. So make a long story short, eating better has substantially improved my life. So I went from eating at work to now having very basic lunches. I do cook at home. I cook at home probably, I don't know, 3 times a week because I try to make enough so I have leftovers. But I went from eating all this like food with oil to having things that are just much more basic. Like now in the morning, what I do is for breakfast. So I guess if you're watching, this is like my diet, right? For breakfast, I have overnight oats. I can link to a recipe that I use for overnight oats, which I think is awesome. It's very easy to make. It takes me like 5 minutes to make overnight oats for my fiance and I, and it lasts us for like 2 days. The next day, something else that's great is I'm getting the oats and then I'm having like a ton of fruits on top. So all of a sudden the breakfast is completely different. And then pretty much throughout the week, I'm just having a little bit of rice and then a protein, but it's all homemade, right? I know it's going into it. I even have a scale. I literally have a scale right here. But this scale that my fiance bought me is awesome because it has an app that I just hook it up to. I can weigh all my food and it gives me all my macros, so I know exactly what I'm eating. I try to weigh it as many times as I can throughout the week, but for the most part, yeah, eating, like now I'm so used to eating that if I go out and just have like the slightest thing that's like, I don't know, like this doesn't feel great, I just feel bad. So eating for sure, big difference. Try to eat at home like Monday to Saturday. If I'm gonna eat out, I'll try not to go crazy and I'll have something healthy-ish. But I still try to enjoy myself when I can. But I guess that's the first thing that has really improved my life, and that's just eating better. Okay, and the second thing that I would say, and this might sound obvious, but waking up early. Now, people might think that I'm waking up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and that means that I'm trying to get like a run in the morning, or I'm trying to optimize my time in the morning, waking up at 4 or 5 to get those 2 hours before work to do some crazy, other side work. But that's not really what I'm doing. What I'm just doing is, like, I used to wake up maybe at like 8:30, right? But waking up at 8:30, especially when I wasn't even eating breakfast at home or I was skipping it, it meant that I had to wake up and just rush to work. So waking up early has allowed for me to have a morning like this. Like now I wake up at 7 or 7:30 a.m. And waking up at that time, I realize I don't have kids yet, and this will change drastically when I have kids, but I can wake up in the morning, I can make my coffee, I can take my dogs out in the backyard, I can sit down with my fiance, have a nice breakfast, like we can talk to each other, just have a good time. We can enjoy the morning together, right? We can even watch TV if we wanted to for a little bit, right? But there's a lot of things, like it just makes your morning a lot more relaxed. You can think a little bit before you go to work. You can plan out your day mentally. If you really wanted to, you could get ahead on some work. You could go to the gym. You can read a book. There's just a lot more you can do, even if you just wake up half an hour earlier. Like waking up half an hour earlier can make a massive difference. You don't need to wake up at 4 in the morning and do like 1,000 different things to feel productive. Like you can really just wake up at half an hour earlier. Like if you wake up at 8, try waking up at 7:30, and you're gonna see like it's just gonna make you feel good because you'll have a more relaxed morning. You'll have just more time to yourself. And I do believe in having time to yourself, because if you're just expending all that energy, with schoolwork or normal work or house chores or anything else you want to do, like it drains you, and you need to have that individual and alone time for yourself, or with a loved one. Or maybe in the morning you guys wake up earlier so that you each can have that individual time, so then later on at night you guys can be together again. So I just think that something that simple, literally just half an hour earlier, like if you're watching, try 15 minutes, try half an hour, try 45 minutes, and then go all the way to an hour. Probably after an hour, if you can do an hour and you feel good, hey, you can probably do even more. Of course, you're gonna have to sleep earlier, because the point is not to wake up early but then also maintain the time that you go to sleep, because that's probably not gonna be like too great. So far two things, right? Eating better and then waking up earlier, two things that have really helped me out a lot. Definitely recommend both of them. You don't even have to make significant adjustments like too crazily. Just little by little, like I always say, scale down, progressively overload. We're thinking long-term game here, right? So don't bite more than you can chew. One of the videos I literally made, probably I think it's been like a week ago. I don't know why my dog is crying. He's whimpering a little bit, but okay. The third thing is to try something new, right? So we all have hobbies. We all have things that we're interested in, that's a good point, right? Everyone has like something that they're interested in, right? Let's say I love playing video games. Some of my favorite video games are like Fallout. I love the Fallout video game series. I play Fallout a lot. The last game I was playing was Fallout 3. That was a couple weeks ago, unfortunately. But, well, I don't say unfortunately. Things just happen, right? But if I spend my whole life playing video games, like that's the thing that I always do, right? That's one of my favorite creative hobbies. One of my maybe not creative, but my favorite hobbies just in general is playing video games. But what I can do is do something else, like do something different that you normally don't do, and make that your new thing, or try to make that your new thing. And give yourself like some amount of time. Like for example, I'm giving myself at least 6 months with YouTube right now just to see if it even pans out, because I've never even gone that long with any other creative pursuit. right? So I owe it to myself to at least try now that I'm getting older, and I feel like this is actually something I really enjoy doing. So maybe pick up a new book, or maybe if you don't play video games, or watch a new show, or start walking, or play with your dogs, or just do anything different that you haven't done before. And I promise you, it will just bring so much joy into your life. It'll just change the way that you feel about everything. Like that feeling transcends into every other aspect of your life. So, if you just show up, you come home from work, you do the same thing you always do, even if the thing is fun and it's like a reliever for you, a stress reliever for you, just try something else. Like maybe you come home from work and you're like, I'm gonna watch my favorite episode of, I don't know, Breaking Bad, for example. I'm gonna watch Breaking Bad because I love that show. Maybe instead you tell yourself, well, there's gotta be other shows like Breaking Bad. Let me try that. Let me try something else out. That's different. Or maybe today, it's a nice day, I'll go for a walk. Or you know what? I have these 2 dogs that have been locked up all day and I can go outside. Let me go outside. And speaking of that, let me actually take these guys outside because I think they're like begging to go out. So, all right, boys. Let them sit out there for a little bit. So just try something new, Again, that's exactly what I'm doing with this YouTube channel. It's been a lot of fun. And, it's just like a nice project. Like it makes you feel like alive, because if you just go same thing every single day, you do something new and you feel alive, and it's awesome. Okay, and the fourth thing, and this is more for the people that are currently in relationships, and the reason I bring this up is because I heard about it on a Reddit post maybe like 2 days ago. You know me, always like scouring Reddit, and someone pretty much had a story of like, I have a girlfriend and we love spending time with each other, but she feels like I'm letting go, or she feels like I don't really pay much attention to her. So how do I mitigate this? How do I get better? And my answer was communication. So what I try and do is, if I ever want to make one of these videos, or I want to pursue anything, if I'm going to spend longer time at the gym, or if I'm going to do just anything that requires me to have more time to myself, I communicate it, right? So that has made my life so much easier and so much more fruitful. Easy communication, like grab your phone, tell your friend, tell your girlfriend, tell anyone, hey, I'm going to be doing this thing later today, or hey, tonight, I'm planning on doing this video today, and then after that, we can go and watch our video, right? Or not video, but we can go and watch TV together, or we can go to that restaurant that we always like to go to. So I think the important thing for communication, if you're trying something new, or if you're just gonna be doing something different, is to let the person know what you're gonna be doing ahead of time. And then also show them honest and sincere appreciation, and remind them that you still get to do whatever it is that they wanna do with you. So how might that look? You can say, oh, hey, let's say, I don't know, Marissa. Oh, hey, Marissa, I'm gonna be making a video tonight after work. I just want to let you know I'm gonna need about an hour or two, but after that, I promise you that we can watch our favorite show together. Or, hey, Barbara, I'm gonna be working on that school assignment that I have to do later tonight. It might take me a little longer than I expected, but you know what? After that, let's go to our favorite restaurant, or let's go watch that movie that we've been dying to watch. So it's like a 3-step process. First, it's like, be proactive and reach out. Second, let them know the thing you're gonna do, and give a definitive timeline. That's very important, right? Like 1 hour, 2 hours. Don't just say, I'm gonna work on this, because it's very vague, right? Definitive timeline, 1-2 hours, and then follow up with but I promise we'll be able to do XYZ thing. And especially if they've told you about this thing, if they recently told you about this restaurant, if they recently told you about this movie, if they recently told you about just anything that they're interested in, if you follow up with that at the end, they're gonna feel that much more connected to you, and they'll allow for you to fall into your individuality and really pursue whatever it is you're trying to do. So I think that's really much it. I just feel like in this specific case, this person reacted positive to that message of me telling them, just schedule it in. Let your girlfriend know that you're doing this. Let her know that you appreciate her, and tell her thank you for allowing for you to do all these things, and just follow up on whatever it is you do. So I'm gonna bring my dogs in real quick. Actually, I'm gonna do it at the end of the video because I gotta clean their paws, and I want to be able to focus on this for a second. But 4 things, right? We went over eating better. We went over, it was like eating better, communication, working on new things. And there's one more that's honestly just completely passed my mind, but of course you can go back in the videos and you can see all the different timestamps and see all the different things I talked about. But 4 very simple things that I feel like can make your life better, or can at least improve your life. So yeah, hope you guys found this useful, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Later.